People, deluded, I'm back again. Quick one, very quick one, because there isn't much to speak about. But I'm all sure you've seen yesterday, well, last week Pirlo was named under-23 boss or an under-23 coach for the Juventus youth side. Yesterday he's been unveiled as Juventus' manager. Now, I don't have the details to hand as to the length of his contract and all of these sort of things. But it was a shocker, the first one being, he was literally just named as under-23's gaffer. Obviously, with Juventus going out of the Champions League and Sarri having to pay the price, Champions League is the one for Juventus, or what they're aspiring to. You don't win that, you're put to the sword. Sarri was put to the sword, his tenure at the club is over. Pirlo's linked now. For me, again, I'm not criticising Pirlo, but does that scream that, is Pirlo a short-term option? Is it a different model in that, I've said this before, this is where I think football is going. I think former players, they're not going to do the whole managing in League Two, managing for 10 years like this, going to Parma and getting his feet wet and then the Juventus job. They're going straight into these roles within reason, or they're accelerated. Like, I know Lampard didn't exactly get the Chelsea job overnight, but where was he to even get the Derby job? He got the Derby job for 2 seconds and he's at Chelsea, you get it? And things like that. And if, Arteta come out of nowhere after really just coaching with Man City and then going and going and coaching Arsenal. And there's been other things, this is where the thing is going. And for me, it's a bit weird because I'm only 25, but it's getting weird seeing all of these former players, managers like Henry, Vieira, Lampard, Gerrard, Gattuso, Pirlo, Xavi. Who else is there? Pep Guardiola. Pep's a bit different because he obviously Barca B. Who else is there? Company, Joey Barton. It's getting weird, isn't it? But I think Pirlo can do alright because I think, it screams a different model. This is the model I believe football teams are moving to. It's not, experienced managers will always be a thing, but I do think same way we develop players and things like that, coaches will be developed. And I don't want to sound mad, but I've said it before in a video, there will be a time I genuinely believe managers will go out on loan. Like, let's just use Pirlo as a case study. Let's just say Juventus wanted him and they said long term you're going to be the man, but right now we don't think you're ready. So you might not I'm not talking manage some youth team. He might go and manage in Serie B or manage a lower league Serie A side on a temporary basis and then eventually come back to Juventus. I do think managers going out on loan is the next step to football. For Pirlo, obviously the big one is no experience. Like you've played to the highest level, won everything there the game has to offer. Really, highly regarded in world football. If you know football, you know Pirlo's a bad boy. But none of that means anything if you haven't managed. Like, being a great player doesn't mean you're going to be a great manager. There's very few players that have been great players and great managers. There's been some good players and some okay players and great managers and vice versa. But very hardly do you see both. You struggle to really think of some examples off the top of your head. So there's obviously that, and just because we assume how Pirlo plays, he was a midfielder who saw all the game, he was very much elegant. That doesn't mean that that's going to be his playing style or that's what's going to transpire. That's what I think he's going to do, but until I see him manage, that doesn't mean that's what he's going to do. Do you get it, people? We can't just assume that. Do you get it? He might play long ball football for all so again, he hasn't got experience. There are going to be some mistakes. There are some things he doesn't know. But for me, at a club like Juventus, you will see shortcomings. You will. They want to win the Champions League. Tactically, then fine margins might cost Pirlo if he doesn't learn quickly. But I feel with a club like Juventus, they need to. They've got one of the oldest squads in Serie A, I think, for all of the youth in their team. So I think they need to inject some new youth in there side, get rid of certain players. But I do think he could be helped because you look at a big club like Juventus, they're not going to leave Pirlo to just do his thing, like just hold his hands and try to sink or swim. He could be surrounded with some great experience. He's got good sporting directors with Nedved and the other guys ahead of him. They've shown they get transfers done early and things like that. I think it could all hit off for Pirlo if all the like you want to see at Arsenal with Arteta. If the sporting director is aggressive with the recruitment and gets things done and we address all other areas, then the manager is free to manage, and you surround the manager with experienced coaches, people that have been in the game probably longer than Pirlo's been alive, and you'll be kind of alright because you'd have experienced coaches, you'd have a structure in knowing that he's alright. And crucially with Pirlo, until Pirlo's will be one of their managers, it would have to become abundantly clear that he's not the guy to move the club forward because it's Pirlo. It's the same way with Zidane when he went to Madrid. People are going to listen to Zidane because it's Zidane. So what he does beyond that is down to him, you know, rightly or wrongly. You know, I'm gonna listen to Pirlo or Zidane. You know, if they're coming to coach you, you know, these are two. Like I said, if you could even get a fraction of their accomplishments in the game, you know, it is what it is. So Pirlo's already got that, you know. He's got people going to listen to him because it's Pirlo. You know, people are going to be acting like fanboys because it's Pirlo, and they want to listen and they want to let a legend down and know that they've messed up their relationships with a legend. The midfielders should relish it because, you know, it's Pirlo. If I'm a midfielder playing for Pirlo, you know, if you don't improve your game, you're a dickhead, really, pardon my language, because you had the opportunity there. So there's that. And few people understand what it means, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure AC Milan fans won't like it, but he's played for AC Milan. He's played for Juventus. He's played for the country. He's dealt with expectations, you know. This is a man in the Euros. How much thousands of people are watching, and he's chipping it. If that isn't cool and the right temperament needed at the top level, I don't know what is. And that's things that need to be transpired to people playing for Juventus. Because as much as it's a game about tactics and the rest of it, it's a mental game. And when you play for the bigger teams, you need to be there mentally. Few people understand more than Pirlo potentially what it means to play for Juventus. And for me, if I'm a player going into Juventus, I see a great structure, like I said. I see Pirlo, I see Nedved doing his thing as sporting director or whatever. It screams serious to me. You know, I don't think Sarri was bad for Juventus. I just don't think. I think with Sarri, you know, winning is a dream. It's not a what's the word? It's a dream. It's not a what's the word? Like it's winning is essential at Juventus. Like winning is essential. Like winning is the minimum. Winning is a real craving. You know, that's why they go so hard for the Italian league. You know, even though you know, Juventus to a degree might have been lucky this year. Really. That's what, you know, I think with Sarri, you know, obviously with all due respect to Napoli, he's done great things, but winning hasn't been the expectation. For Juventus, above all, it's about winning, and I don't think Sarri transpires that. I don't think, you know, he's on it like that, and I don't think it can only go so far there. Even with certain things he used to say in the press conference, and I was thinking, you know, Juventus fans or the staff, he's not saying anything to cause a stir. Apologies, people, pardon me, it's the T. He's not saying anything to cause a stir, but it's like, this isn't how Juventus should be speaking. This is how, you know, with all due respect, you know, this is how Roma should be speaking, with all due respect. Or even Napoli, it shouldn't be Juventus. So we'll see how it works for him. But, you know, Juventus is run laser sharp as an organisation. So I think Pirlo will do all right. But we'll have to see, man. Obviously, we have to see who he wants to keep, who he wants to go, how he sets up tactically. But it's another former player, now a manager. So I thought, let me do a video on it. People, it's always a pleasure. But I've got to get out of here, man. DG, I'm out.